and it just opened in our area, like literally 2 minutes away from our house, so that's kind of cool. It's a special kind of store that is in Japan, and there's a lot of versions of it. It doesn't have to be Cosmos Drug, but there's a lot of different versions of these drugstores that pop up everywhere. And their premise is that they start off just as a pharmacy. They sell medicines, of course, that you might need. I say pharmacy, but it's more of like just a drugstore, but you can get a hold of some pretty good medicine without having a prescription. Now obviously if you go to the doctor and they give you a prescription for medicine, you have to go to a particular kind of pharmacist that's usually operated in a separate kind of building that's in the vicinity of a hospital or a doctor's office. But in this case, for like this drugstore, you get discounted medicines and such that, you know, are good for just common colds and, you know, daily ailments, those kinds of things. But then on the flip side of this, because they're selling all these medicines, they also offer a lot of stuff at a really good discount price. Things like, you know, just all sorts of groceries, potato chips, pasta sauces, instant ramen noodles, bread. They have lots of drinks, milk, juice, teas, those kinds of things, and a tiny little small offering of vegetables, and they don't really have any meat or fish, but they do also have a lot of frozen foods, which can be pretty good here, I think, depending on what you get your hands on. So, but it's a really great way to get a good deal on stuff instead of going to the grocery store where stuff like that's usually pretty overpriced. So if you're a smart shopper in Japan, you spread out your shopping between your local grocery store and then one of these drugstores so that you can get a really good deal on those kinds of specialty items. But it was certainly a huge deal for us in our little local area. I know when I first moved here, there was nothing around, and we had to drive about 30 minutes into the next town to do our grocery shopping every time we wanted to go shopping. And then it's slow. Well, and there was a local grocery store, but literally about the same size as 7-Eleven, and everything was so overpriced, and you had no idea how old it was. It was really questionable. It made you kind of wonder, because it's like, this looks like it's from at least 20 years ago. But so we never really shopped there. But then I think the first thing that came in was the 7-Eleven. That was a big deal, right by the station, which was super cool. And then we got a large grocery store called Arena, and that was a major bonus because we didn't have to drive those 30 minutes to go buy our groceries. And then just this, just this week, then, or this month, we had the good fortune of getting this drugstore now too, which is super cool because now I don't have to drive all over town to get stuff. I can just go right where it's super close. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, when things are super close like that, I am so forgetful. I think my brain knows that it's no big deal because it's so close, and so I don't remember anything. I walk in thinking I know what I'm going to buy, and I always forget something. I didn't used to forget at all, but now that it's right here, I'm like forgetting left and right, so go figure. But I'd be curious if there was anything that you guys were super cool about when it came to town. I know we were excited when IKEA opened here in Fukuoka, in Kyushu area in Fukuoka. Which is, 3 hours drive, but still very close in our minds, so it's kind of cool to know that that's there. If there's anything that, you were excited. I remember way back in high school, we had a big Cherry Creek Mall opened in Denver, and I remember that being such a big deal because, it was one of the first times you could go buy Godiva chocolate in a big, shopping mall area, and I think my psychology class teacher really wanted to go, so we all got onto the bus and went to the cemetery for some field trip, and then stopped by at Cherry Creek Mall to buy Godiva chocolates.